Thank you, Dr. Asmi. Respected sir. Today's topic is ECG in cardiac arrhythmia. The word arrhythmia itself signifies that there is no rhythm. So, in my view, it should be ECG in cardiac dysarrhythmia, because we are going to discuss the disturbances of the cardiac rhythm. And arrhythmia means no rhythm, there is death, flat line. But it बहुत दिनों से चला आ रहा है बुक्स में arrhythmia, so I have also written the arrhythmia. So first of all, we have to know the normal rhythm. So normal rhythm, which is originated at normal cardiac pacemaker, impulse is generated in SA node, and then it travels to AV node, then bundle of His, then bundle branches, then Purkinje fibers, then to the ventricles. And it should be in normal rate. Heart rate will be in normal range, that is 60 to 100 beat per minute. And with normal velocity, the conduction should be propagate at normal velocity. The velocity of different areas are different. Like in atria, it is 1000 meter per second. And we have to know the ECG small box, which is recording, which is equal to 0.04 second per small box. This is the only thing we have to remember to know the normal interval of various waves and intervals. So normal interval of P wave is 0.08 to 0.10 second, that is 2.5 small boxes. PR interval of up to 0.20, that is one large box, which includes 5 small boxes. QRS complex is 0.06 to 0.10 second, that is 1.5 small box to 3 small box up to 2.5 small box actually, and QT interval up to 0.44 second, that is 2 large boxes. So in normal conduction system, the impulse is generated in SA node, travels down through intranodal fibers or connections to the AV node and to the other atrium, that is left atrium. And from AV node, it travels down to bundle of His, then bundle branches, right bundle branches, left bundle branches, then His Purkinje fibers or Purkinje systems, Purkinje cell systems, and then to the ventricles. So this is normal conduction. Rhythm is regular PP interval, regular RR interval, which vary as much as up to 3 mm is normal. P wave, one P wave preceding every QRS complex, and QT interval up to 0.40 second. So RR interval, as we measure to heart rate, we usually calculate number of large boxes between two RR wave if heart rhythm is regular. If it is irregular, this rule is not to follow. So if between two RR wave there is 5 small boxes, then heart rate we calculate it to divide into 300 by 5 large boxes. So we get 60 per minute. If we get 4, we get 75 beat per minute. If there is only 3 large boxes, then 100 beat per minute. If only 2 large boxes between 2 RR wave, then we get 150 beat per minute. And if only 1 large boxes between 2 RR wave, then heart rate is equal to 300 beat per minute. This is all normal. So cardiac arrhythmias, we focus on rate, rhythm, impulse generation or impulse conduction within the heart, and arrhythmias are disruption of normal sequence of myocardial activation, seriously compromising cardiac mechanical efficiency and reducing cardiac output. If it is a atrial arrhythmia, then it cardiac output decreases up to 30%, and if it is ventricular arrhythmia, cardiac output decrease significantly and patient becomes much more symptomatic than atrial arrhythmias. So in classification, normal sinus impulse formation and rhythm is called normal sinus rhythm, and if it is slightly irregular because of inspiration and expiration, because of normal respiration of person, it is called as sinus arrhythmia. But impulse is still generating from sinus node, and disturbances from sinus like rate, if rate is less than 60 beat per minute, it is called sinus bradycardia, and rate is more than 100 beat per minute, it is called sinus tachycardia. And disturbances of atrial impulse formation like atrial premature complexes, that is most benign arrhythmia of all, and atrial tachycardia, atrial flutter, atrial fibrillation. Some of the disturbances of ventricular impulse formation like ventricular premature complexes, ventricular tachycardia, ventricular asystole, there is no contraction at all, and ventricular fibrillation. Disturbance of impulse conduction like sinus arrest, atrial standstill, first degree AV block, second degree AV block, and third degree AV block. There are various heart blocks. So in tachyarrhythmias, it could be either supraventricular tachycardia or ventricular tachycardia. Ventricular tachycardia is because of ischemic pathology or non-ischemic pathology. Various non-ischemic pathology can also cause, like electrolyte imbalance. And in supraventricular tachycardia, that is atrial flutter, atrial fibrillation, atrial ectopy. It could be from a single foci, then it is called focal atrial ectopy, and if it's from different foci, multiple foci, more than 3, then it is called multifocal atrial ectopy. And then there are re-entry tachycardia like AV re-entry tachycardia, junctional re-entry tachycardia like type A, type B, and in AV re-entry tachycardia, it could be concealed accessory pathway or overt accessory pathway such as Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome, that is called WPW syndrome. So normal sinus rhythm, impulse is generating in SA node, traveling through normal conduction system of the heart, reaching to the ventricles, and ECG tracing depicting a normal rhythm of electrical conductivity throughout the heart, which is P wave, then PR interval, then QRS complexes, then ST segment, then T wave, followed by TP segment, that is isoelectric line, and again P wave. So this is normal sinus rhythm. Rate and rhythm is in regular. Rate between 60 to 100 beat per minute, and rhythm is regular. And in sinus arrhythmia, because of inspiration and expiration, in inspiration RR complexes comes near, and during expiration, during end of expiration, cessation of expiration, it widens again. So there is a variation of rhythm, but within 3 mm. So it is also a sinus rhythm. It is called sinus arrhythmia. It is normally seen in children, but in adult or older age, it could be a sign of underlying serious condition, sometimes in IHD too, ischemic heart disease. Sinus bradycardia, only disturbances of the rate becomes less than 60 beat per minute, but rhythm is regular, sinus and heart rate is below 60 beat per minute. Some causes: normal healthy heart, in athletes, hypothermia, hypoxia, hypoglycemia, hypothyroidism, and some drug effect like beta blockers and calcium channel blockers. And sinus tachycardia, it is again regular sinus rhythm with increased ventricular rate, heart rate more than 100 beat per minute, and cause include stress, anxiety, pain, fever, excitement, hyperthyroidism, and some of the drugs effect. Atrial premature complexes, that is most benign arrhythmia we seen in ECG. No treatment required, actually be observed only. So premature atrial impulses originating from atrial site other than the SA node. Normally the impulse is generated from SA node, but here impulse is generating from the other atrial sites. So there is a different looking P wave than the normal sinus rhythm P wave. Here in this picture, this P wave, and this P wave is normal sinus P wave, and here is a different P wave. So it is not coming from SA node, it is coming from other parts of atria. So we can identify it in ECG, abnormal looking P wave, and it called atrial premature complexes. If they come frequent and rate becomes more than 100, it is called as atrial tachycardia. If they are coming from a single foci, and so we call it focal atrial tachycardia. If they are coming from multiple part of the atria, they called, at least we require 3 different shapes of P wave, so they called multifocal atrial tachycardia, mostly seen in chronic respiratory disease patients, also called MAT, M-A-T. Now atrial flutter, sawtooth, saw means आरी, जो लकड़ी काटने के लिए हम यूज करते हैं, उसके तरह P wave दिखने लगे. Formation between the mostly normal QRS complex is normal, because in atrial arrhythmia is happening because of atrial disturbances. So after originating from different part of atria or re-entry or triggered activity or enhanced automaticity, that is the mechanism of arrhythmias, they travel through normal other जो conduction system है वो normal AV node से they propagate through. So in atrial flutter there is a sawtooth formation between the mostly normal QRS complex. So QRS complex is normal, occurs when ventricular rate differs from the atrial rate. Ventricular rate usually in atrial flutter seen in at the rate of 150 beat per minute, and atrial rate is 300 plus minus 50. It could be 250, it could be 350. And single area of atrium other than the SA node starts impulse. It is a macro re-entrant tachycardia. The area is called cavo-tricuspid isthmus. So mechanism of this arrhythmia is re-entry. There are 3 mechanisms of arrhythmia, all arrhythmias. One is re-entry, that is the most common mechanism. Then other one is enhanced automaticity, and the third one is triggered activity. We have heard about delayed after depolarization, early after depolarization. That comes in triggered activity. So AV node is the gatekeeper. It only allows some impulses through the ventricles, to the ventricles, and lots of P wave and regular QRS. So though it is re-entry rate is around 300 plus minus 50, but ventricular rate is only 150 because of this AV node. AV node has a feature of gatekeeper. There is a delay, so it don't allow all the P waves to pass through it. So the abnormal P wave rate differs than the ventricular rate. So ventricular rate is at 150 beat per minute. So atrial flutter is the precursor of atrial fibrillation. Most of the cases atrial flutter ultimately changes into atrial fibrillation in 90% of the cases, and this is most deceiving arrhythmia to most of the cardiologists and most responsive to DC shock. Only 30 joule synchronizing DC shock required to treat it, and it is the most responsive arrhythmia of all arrhythmia of cardiac arrhythmia. What is very difficult to diagnose? We usually miss it because at the rate of 150 we thought that it is a sinus tachycardia. Atrial fibrillation. Fibrillation is the rapid, irregular and unsynchronized contraction of the atrial muscle fibers caused by numerous disorganized atrial impulses frequently bombarding at the AV node, and ventricular depolarization rate is irregular and usually rapid, and no P wave are evident. P wave is replaced by numerous fibrillation wave, that is F wave, and rate is around, fibrillation wave rate is around 400 plus minus 50. It could be 350, it could be 450. So whenever we see irregular rhythm with normal QRS complexes and rate is usually more than 100, we can diagnose it at atrial fibrillation. Now AV-NRT. Typical AV-NRT found in most of the PSVT, 90-95% is typical AV-NRT, anterograde conduction down slow pathway, and retrograde conduction is up fast pathway. If P wave seen, then RP is less than PR interval. Here AB node has dual AB nodal pathway, and premature beat impulse is after reaching here, it usually passes through fast pathway and goes down to the ventricles. But if fast pathway has some block here, then the impulses pass through slow pathway, and when it reaches here, not only pass through to the ventricle but also comes up to the fast pathway, and then it reaches here and comes in contact with the other premature impulses, and a re-entry phenomena develops, and this causes AVNRT, AV nodal re-entry phenomena. So in pre-excitation syndrome, PR interval is short, like WPW syndrome, that atria ventricular connected through a bundle of Kent. So here in ECG we found short PR interval, P is here, short PR interval. PR interval usual duration is 0.12 to 0.2 second, and it is short PR interval that less than 3 small boxes. And in this case, PR segment cannot be seen, only P wave and QRS complex with a delta wave. In orthodromic AVRT, anti-grade conduction through AV node. This is anti-grade conduction through AV node. Here we found normal QRS duration, no delta wave, and retrograde P wave after QRS. And in antidromic AVRT, we found wide QRS complex with delta wave. This is called delta wave. Initial P wave rarely seen. If P wave is visible, then retrograde and occurs just before the QRS. So AVRT, atrioventricular re-entrant tachycardia, two types, concealed and manifest. Now types of ventricular arrhythmias. After I tell you the types of ventricular arrhythmia, again premature ventricular complexes, ventricular tachycardia, monomorphic and polymorphic, and polymorphic with long QT interval, also known as torsades de pointes, we know it, and ventricular flutter and ventricular fibrillation. Now premature ventricular complexes, PVCs, or also called BPCs, ventricular premature complexes. Premature beats, cardiac impulses initiated within the ventricles instead of the sinus node. Impulse is generated within the ventricles. So once any impulse generated within the ventricles, it has a wider QRS complex. Ventricle discharges before the arrival of the next anticipated impulse from SA node and can occur at any rate but pose a greater danger with tachycardia associated with congenital defects, various cardiomyopathies, drug reactions, cardiac neoplasia, anemia, acidosis, hyperthyroidism, hypokalemia, ISD, and high intake of caffeine. In PVCs, the P wave is often not seen on the ECG tracing. Only a wide, distorted, busier QRS complex is evident. The beat preceding the PVC and the beat following are usually equal to the time of the two normal beats. So here this is the PVCs, this is normal QRS, normal P wave, but here no P wave and QRS is wide busier. This is the QRS. Ventricular tachycardia. One strong ventricle impulses that hijacks the conduction system of the heart. Patient may be stable with the pulse or unstable with no pulse at all. So when there is no pulse, we call pulseless ventricular tachycardia, or it is quite significant and we need DC shock to treat it. AV node is on its own and SA node is not working here. So a series of 3 or more PVC is also called ventricular tachycardia, but it is non-sustained, sustained only if they persist for more than 30 seconds. It is life-threatening and treatment is reset heart via defibrillation or antiarrhythmic medications. Ventricular fibrillation, the most dangerous arrhythmia of all. Death is quite possible within 4 minutes if not attended. And the cardiac arrest, the word ventricular fibrillation causes cardiac arrest. The mechanical pumping of the heart is not evident on ECG. Many weak impulses other than AV node present in ventricles. The ECG has busier baseline with prominent undulation due to the weak and uncoordinated ventricular contractions, very low to absent cardiac output, associated with shock, trauma, electrolyte imbalances, drug reactions, electric shock, hypothermia, acute MI and cardiomyopathies, and rapidly fatal, death within 4 minutes if untreated. So this is the ECG of ventricular fibrillation. There is no recognizable P wave or QRS complexes, only irregular, chaotic, deformed reflections of varying width and amplitude and shape. Unless controlled immediately by 200 joule DC shock, unsynchronized, ventricular fibrillation will result in cardiac arrest and followed by death. So this is the most dangerous arrhythmia of all. Now this term atrial standstill. Here SA node sends impulses but atria do not contract. So there is no P wave seen, bradycardia and bite QRS seen. Hyperkalemia is the most common cause of it. So decreased potassium, if you see this rhythm without P wave and bite QRS complex, without P wave and bite QRS complex with a bradycardia. And if not due to increased potassium, pacemaker is the only treatment. Now comes to the heart block, AV nodal block. So if AV node signals are not reaching to the ventricles, back up pacemaker in the ventricles begin to compensate and the pace of ventricular pumping is not nearly what it is when the AV node is conducting impulses. So though atria depolarize, but it can't reach to the ventricles, they can't propagate to the ventricles. So decreased ventricular work decreases blood pumped systematically, and decreased blood pump means decreased perfusion to the other vital organ and peripheral limbs. There is 3 types of heart block we see. First degree AV block, the delay in conduction of an impulses through the AV node and bundle of his. The PR interval is longer than normal. Normal PR interval is between 0.13 to 5 small boxes, that is 0.12 second to 0.20 second. And here we find PR interval is longer. This type of heart block is a result of minor conduction defect and seen in older patient. Normally we seen it as secondary to degenerative change in the conduction system. But there is no clear-cut guideline to treat this type of arrhythmia. Only observation what we require. In first degree heart block, rhythm is regular, PR interval prolonged more than 0.20 second. That is more than 5 small boxes. P wave is normal and QRS duration is normal. Second degree AV block, there is 2 type of second degree AV block, Mobet type 1 and Mobet type 2. Mobet type 1 also called Bankebeck. Some atrial impulses are not conducted through AV node and therefore do not cause depolarization of the ventricles. So it is usually a nodal block with normal QRS complexes. There are 2 types. Type 1 is Bankebeck and type 2 is Mobet type 2. So in Bankebeck, that is Mobet type 1, rhythm is increasingly prolonged, PR interval is irregular, P wave is normal and QRS is normal. And Mobet type 2, an intermittent block at the AV node that conducts some impulses but blocks others. It is infranodal block, so QRS may be biden here. A constant PR interval that is usually of normal duration with random dropped beats. In the case of type 2 block, atrial contraction are not regularly followed by ventricular contraction. 2 or more dropped QRS in a row. Here in this ECG, this is P wave followed by QRS, T wave, P wave followed by QRS, T wave for P wave not followed by QRS. Again P wave not followed by QRS. So there is blocked P wave and dropped QRS. But PR interval is constant. Here PR interval is constant. So this is Mobet type 2 block. It required treatment because it is dangerous block and it is usually infranodal block. In type 1 and type 2, difference between in type 1 and type 2 block, QRS here may be widened and there is a normal or constant PR interval. In type 1, that is MOVET type 1, that is prolongation of the PR interval and then followed one P wave, and there is no QRS followed by that P wave. So in MOVET type 2, rhythm is irregular here, PR interval is normal, P wave is normal, and QRS usually widen. Third degree AV block, the cardiac impulse is completely blocked in the region of the AV junction. There is complete dissociation between the atria and ventricles. The most severe heart block it is, and no relationship between the P wave and QRS complexes. Atria and ventricle each beat independently and do not communicate at all. So in third degree AV block, that is complete heart block, rhythm is irregular, PR interval is none, we cannot calculate. P wave is normal, does not relate to QRS, and QRS may be normal if escape rhythm is coming from junction, and QRS may be wide if escape rhythm is a ventricular escape rhythm. In this type of heart block, P wave beating at its own rate, that could be normal rate, and QRS is not following each P wave. So in first degree AV block, the cause is increased vagal tone, MI, age related degeneration, and drugs like beta blocker, CCB, digoxin, infective endocarditis. MOVET type 1 block is because of increased vagal tone, inferior MI, age related degeneration, drugs, beta blocker, CCB, digoxin, and infection and endocarditis and rheumatic fever. AV block MOVET type 2 is seen in age related degeneration or anterior septal MI, that is more dangerous than inferior MI. And third degree, that is complete AV block, which is seen usually in MI, AV node ischemia or anterior septal MI or Hirsch-Purkinje ischemia, age related degeneration, that is Leber disease and Leniger disease, drugs like beta blocker, CCB, digoxin, infection, endocarditis, myocarditis, rheumatic fever, or maybe congenital complete heart block. So there is a poem. If the R wave is far from P, that is PR interval is increased only, then you have first degree. Longer, 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 then drop. Then you have a Banke-Bakk, that is type 1 AV block. If some P's don't get through, then you have a MOVET type 2. And if P's and Q's don't agree, then you have a third degree. These are some other rhythms we have already discussed. Atrial fibrillation, in which QRS is narrow but irregularly irregular, and between these RR wave we find fibrillatory wave, no definite P wave are seen. In BF, ventricular fibrillation, it is usually a polymorphic ventricular fibrillation, polymorphic ventricular tachycardia, twisting around it. There is no definite shape, only chaotic rhythm seen, and this is most dangerous arrhythmia of all. And finally, if not treated on time, it becomes asystole, there is no rhythm at all, and patient expires. The only treatment of ventricular fibrillation is DC shock, 200 joule biphasic, unsynchronized. So in a nutshell, cardiac arrhythmias, most common arrhythmias mechanism is re-entry, most common sustained arrhythmia is atrial fibrillation, most common benign rhythm identified is premature atrial complexes, most common arrhythmia in chronic respiratory disease is MAT, that is multifocal atrial tachycardia. Post-operative atrial fibrillation is managed with landiolol hydrochloride, newer ultra short acting beta blocker, recently approved by FDA in November 2024. Atrial fibrillation is getting converted to ventricular fibrillation is seen with WPW syndrome. This is the only condition, so you have to identify WPW syndrome. You have to know how to identify WPW syndrome in an ECG, because in a patient of WPW syndrome, atrial fibrillation, there is a high chance will get converted to ventricular fibrillation, that is most dangerous arrhythmia of all. And most common form of PSVT is AVNRT. In the last, thank you. And to treat these arrhythmias, we have to be very precise. Focus on ventricular arrhythmia, not on atrial arrhythmias. Atrial arrhythmia patient can tolerate very well, and no intervention or medicine, especially antiarrhythmic drugs, they are not popular, so popular than the other cardiac drugs. So no intervention or medicine should be more dangerous than the disease itself. Thank you, sir.
Now the topic is open for discussion.
When to treat immature ventricular bleeds?
When to treat?
Occasionally we should treat or not? Okay.
Sir, all is depend on symptoms. If patient is symptomatic, he is feeling palpitation,
If there is no symptom,
then we can observe only. Or if they are coming frequent, sir, Holter लगाएंगे. If they are coming more than 4 in number, more than 5 in number, we have to treat. Because in a row more than 3, it is called non-sustained ventricular tachycardia. There is high chance that it could be a ventricular tachycardia soon after. So we have to treat.
if they are occasional, then
Occasional, no treatment required. No treatment required.
So the recommendation say that like if the load is more than 5% in 24 hours, you have to go for management medical medical. Less than 5, less than 3, you can as well watch and see.
एक्चुअली सर मुझे इन एंटी एरिथमिक ड्रग से ज़्यादा डर लगता है रेदर देन द बीपीसीज, क्योंकि ये जो स्टडी हुई थी बीपीसीज पे खूब ट्रीटमेंट दिए गए इन पे, जो हमारे 4 क्लासेस ऑफ द एंटी एरिथमिक ड्रग्स हैं दे यूज, तो बीपीसीज भी गायब हो गए और वो पेशेंट भी गायब हो गए.
most of the antiarrhythmic drug also produces arrhythmia.
यस यस.
If there are no more questions, I would like to conclude this session here, Ravi. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir, for the nice presentation.